Hi folks, it's Marvin Music with MedicareSchool.com, and we're thankful that you have joined our event tonight. Glad you're here, and trust that this will be very helpful, useful for you as you learn about Medicare. Some of you brand new to Medicare and just starting the journey. Others of you been on it a while and just trying to stay up to date to make sure that you're current and on the right plans. And so we're thankful all of you are with us. My son and I, Joshua, started this company now 16 years ago. It's been a privilege to serve people as they go into retirement, making Medicare decisions, investment decisions, Social Security decisions. And that's what our company is all about. We specialize in retirement planning, Medicare planning, helping people make sure that they're going on Social Security at the right time, and then investments as well. So tonight I will take your questions about Medicare. If you have questions about Social Security, I'm happy to field those as well. I don't want to pretend I know it all, but I've been at this business for a while and have learned a lot through the years, and so hopefully we'll be able to answer your question. If not, we'll let you know, and we'll try to get back with you the following week. But we do try to host these events every week, normally on Thursdays, but I'm actually out of town tomorrow, and so we had to change it to this evening. And then I want to remind everyone, if you're new to our company, just becoming aware of us, we do have a YouTube channel with well over 400 videos that I have shot and a few other content creators within our company, and it will help you to really learn everything you need to do about Medicare. Those of you that are aware of us, then you know that these resources really are designed for one reason, and that is to make sure that before you start making any Medicare decisions, that you understand what you're doing. You need to have a good basic knowledge of your options before you start enrolling into plans, because sometimes the decisions people make about Medicare cannot be reversed. And that's sad when it happens. And so as a company, we don't want that to happen. We want to make sure that you are confident in your Medicare choices, that you understand what you're doing before you decide to enroll into anything. All right, so enough of that. I do want to let you know one favor that our producer, Daniel, and I appreciate is when you put a question in, and you can start doing that right now, be sure that we can understand it. Don't be so abbreviated with the question that we can't make sense of it. Otherwise, we can't help you. So again, be real clear. And again, I'll take those questions here in just a minute. Tonight, we're going to talk about this. Why does Plan G continue to crush every other supplemental plan on the market right now? And so those of you that would be familiar with supplemental plans know that there are actually 10 different supplemental plans today, 10 of them. Now, if you are you started Medicare before 1/1 of 2020, all 10 of those would be available to you. That's the key date because they changed things after 1/1/2020. But there are 10 plans. Those plans are A, B, C, D. Those are supplemental plans A, B, C, D, F, G, K, L, M, and N. And then there are high deductible Fs and high deductible Gs. And so we have these plans that are available to allow you to reduce, eliminate, or almost eliminate all of your financial liability within the original Medicare system. So when people stay in A and B, Medicare A and B pays first, but there's always a balance for the bill unless it's going to be a preventive service. And that's what I want you to remember. Medicare doesn't cover anything 100% other than preventive services. So you go in for a wellness checkup or a colorectal screening or some other kind of a screening or a test, maybe an immunization that Medicare covers. That would be the only thing covered 100%. So there's always a balance. And so we call those balances gaps. Medicare paid but didn't pay 100%, so that gap is your financial responsibility, your liability that you either have to pay out of pocket or get insurance to cover. And so that's the purpose of supplemental plans. So A and B pays first. The provider, the doctor, the hospital makes a claim. Medicare pays first and takes the balance and sends it to your supplemental company that will then pay based upon the gap plan that you bought. And again, there's 10 of those. Now, if we're starting Medicare after 1/1 of 2020, all 10 are no longer available. The C and the F are not options for you. You can still get supplemental plan A, B, D, G, K, L, M, and N. So there's 8 of those available. But what's interesting is of all the plans available today, the 10 options or 8 options depending upon when you started Medicare, the great majority, actually 95% of all people are either choosing a G plan or an N plan. Got it? 5% maybe doing other plans, maybe some of the high deductible options, those kinds of things, but 95% of all people today choose G or N. Now, of that amount, about 55% of people are choosing the G plan now, and then 40% are choosing the N plan. So again, both are really wonderful options, but as far as really crushing it still, we find the G continues to outperform the N plan. Now, by the way, if you happen to be on an N plan, don't think I'm saying, hey, run out and change to a G plan, because I'm not saying that. I think both of these plans are really, really great options. And the reason for that is because both G and N have some of the same features. Number one, you get to go to any doctor that takes Medicare. And in my opinion, that's awesome. And by the way, I'll be on Medicare here in 8 months. And I can assure you, I'm going to stay in the original Medicare system because I don't want to have the hassles of wondering, will my doctor take my plan? And that never happens with the supplemental plan, because if your doctor or hospital or whoever you're seeing takes original Medicare, they have to take your supplemental plan. Have to. Now, folks, we'll get comments and even calls into our office where people say, well, they said they wouldn't take my supplemental plan. Well, if they take original Medicare, they have to. So normally what happens when someone calls in and the provider says they're not going to take it, it's usually a rookie, someone that is answering the phone, that doesn't really understand the difference between supplemental plans and advantage plans, because providers do not have to take advantage plans. They do not. It's voluntary participation in a network. Some will participate and some will not. But when it comes to supplemental plans, as long as that provider takes original Medicare, they have to take your supplemental plan. Now, we do find from time to time companies that are, providers, primarily primary care doctor groups, that are owned by Advantage plans, and that's all they'll take because Advantage plan owns them. Okay, but that's certainly not the norm. And remember, if you are seeing a concierge doc, they don't take Medicare at all. They actually have totally opted out of taking Medicare. But what we find through studies is that 99% of non-pediatric doctors take original Medicare. Okay, 99% non-pediatric docs. And so you will see that all doctors are going to take your supplemental plan, and all hospitals do, 100% of them do. And so the whole point is that's the reason I'm going to go with the supplemental plan. I can go to any provider I want. Second reason is because I never have to worry at all about any kind of a pre-authorization, which can be very annoying. People that are on Medicare Advantage plans, they have to deal with them all the time. Pre-authorization means your doctor recommends, insurance company must approve, must pre-authorize that, or it is not a covered service. And many times they will cover services even after a pre-authorization, but sometimes they don't. They delay through pre-authorizations. They deny services that Medicare oftentimes would cover. But insurance company says, no, we don't believe you need that knee replacement. We want you to go to therapy. Or no, we're not going to pay for that full hip, or we're going to pay for a rod. And so those kind of things happen every day where pre-authorizations are required and denied. And the patient then is not going to get what the doctor said. They're going to get what the insurance company said. Right? And so that's the process you got to go through, folks. And again, that's why I'm going with the supplemental plan. And then there's a lot of reasons. I just want to mention one more, and that is the fact that I know that I have a permanent policy. I like that because when you get a supplemental plan, whether it's a G or an N plan or whatever one you buy, that policy can never be canceled by the insurance company except for non-payment of premium. You pay the premium, it's your policy for the rest of your life. They cannot cancel it because of age. They cannot cancel it because you've relocated, meaning you move from one state to another. You take them with you. They can't cancel for that reason. Nor can they cancel them because you have a tremendous amount of claims. You may be very ill. I hope you're not, but if you were, and you had, tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars of doctor bills, they have to pay those. They can't cancel them like our auto policy can or homeowners can. They can, but the health insurance, Medicare supplemental plans can never be canceled because you're ill and have a lot of claims. So I like those aspects. Permanent policies, no pre-authorizations whatsoever. Never worrying about what provider I go to because I can go to anywhere that takes Medicare. And I could go a few on and on with that. But the point is, I believe there's wonderful features of supplemental plans that make it worth to me to pay a premium to have one. Now, I know Advantage plans have a zero premium, but they also come with some negatives, in my opinion, that I don't want to deal with. I don't want to deal with those issues whatsoever. Advantage plans are written for 1 year at a time. They're not permanent at all. And again, they have pre-authorizations, provider networks, HMOs, PPOs. And so again, I don't want those kinds of issues if I'm having a health problem to impact what services I'm going to get, what will be approved, what won't be approved. I want to be able to go to any doctor, and as long as Medicare says it's covered, my supplemental plan covers, no questions asked whatsoever. And so I think it's worth that extra premium. Now, when it comes to the G plan, I think the reason still 55% of people are choosing those is because they're looking for what would be the most comprehensive coverage available. Now, prior to those of you who started Medicare before 1/1/2020, the most comprehensive plan was an F plan, and it was truly full coverage. You paid your premium, and as long as you're going to a Medicare provider, service covered by Medicare, you never got a bill because that F plan filled in all the gaps. Most comprehensive one available. But if we're starting Medicare after 1/1/2020, as most of you probably are, then F's not an option, so the G is the most comprehensive because it covers 5 of the 6 gaps in Medicare. F covered 6 of 6. G covers 5 of 6. And the only one it doesn't cover is the Medicare B deductible. That's an annual amount set by Medicare, and you would be responsible to pay that out of your pocket. This year, it's $257 once a year. It's not prorated for the year. It's a calendar year deductible. So whenever you start Medicare in the year, that's going to be your deductible. And then after that small deductible has been satisfied, then everything else is going to be covered. Medicare pays first, supplemental plan covers all the other gaps. So truly the G plan is the most comprehensive, and there's some people who can afford that, meaning they can afford that extra maybe $40 a month between the G and the N, and they want that coverage because they want to know for the rest of their life everything's covered but that B deductible. Now, some people choose the N plan, and I promise you, I believe it's a great option as well. I don't think there's one better than the other. We're all different. I'm sure the majority of us have a different view on deductibles with our homeowners or maybe our auto policies. So there's no right or wrong here, folks. I think whichever one you go with, I think you've made a good decision. Now, as far as the N plan goes, it covers 4 of the 6 gaps. It covers everything but the B deductible and excess charges if and when they occur. And I think many people today are going with the N plan because the excess charges are very rare. In fact, there's 8 states where the providers cannot even charge excess. And those states are Pennsylvania, Ohio, Rhode Island, New York, and New York will allow up to 5%, but not the full 15%. Connecticut, Maine, Massachusetts, and Vermont. Those states, providers cannot legally charge excess, so of course they're not going to, but everywhere else they could, but the majority of doctors do not. They say right now less than 5% of doctors actually will charge excess. But if you're worried about that, or you know you're going to a place that's going to do that, then a G, again, would cover it. The N will not. So if you had an N plan and you experience excess charges, that would be out of your pocket, which is, again, an additional 15% above the Medicare approved amount. All right, so that's the difference. Then one more thing I'll mention, and that is that with the N plan, remember, you do have a couple of very reasonable copays. Anytime you see a doctor, a primary care doctor, a specialist, you would be responsible for up to a $20 copay. No more than 20, but up to 20. And then if you went to the emergency room, you'd have a $50 copay. So again, those are very reasonable, very low. But with the N plan, you would have copays. The G plan, you would not. G, only the B deductible. N, you pay the B deductible, excess charges if and when they occur, and again, doctor copays. All right, so those are the differences. And so what I would do if I were you, I would make a comparison, look at the difference in premium. And so if there's a substantial difference, and by the way, there is, some states will see as much as $80 to $100 a month difference between the G and the N. Well, to me, that's almost a no-brainer, especially if you live in a state where they can't even add excess. Then I think that's substantial. Otherwise, if it's $35 or $40 a month, then again, it's your decision, very discretionary. If it looks like it's worth it to you, do the G. If not, do the N. I think you've still made a great decision. And we'd love to help you with that. So I want to remind you there will be a number at the bottom of the screen throughout our time tonight. if you need immediate assistance, our switchboard is open till 7 p.m. tonight. Our hours are Central Time. We're right outside of Kansas City, Missouri, in a suburb called Overland Park, Kansas. That's where home office is. We write in all 50 states and D.C., so we're all over the country. And so when you call in, it's always Central Time, though, 7 to 7, Monday to Thursday, 7 to 6 on Friday. And we'd be delighted to help. You can call in and speak to an agent that I have trained, by the way. Just so you know, I train every single person in our company. Anyone that talks to you, I personally train to help them to understand how we do business, what's important to me, what's important to us as a company. And so I hope you'd have a great experience. If not, let me know, because we'll change that. Okay, so I'm going to take questions now. Anything on your heart and mind, I'm ready for the questions. Our producer is Daniel, so he'll be feeding those to me tonight. All right, I have A, B, and Medicaid. Do I actually need a supplemental plan or an Advantage plan? Okay, Ralph, well, number one, technically you cannot get a supplemental plan if you're on Medicaid. Typically when people qualify for Medicaid, that's low income, low assets, and the federal government is covering probably your Part B premium or a portion of it. And so you're getting that kind of help, and so that's why you technically cannot get a supplemental plan. Now, when it comes to being on Medicaid, you have A and B pays first, Medicaid pays second. Now, what a lot of people will do in your position, Ralph, is they will actually enroll into what is called a dual eligible Medicare Advantage plan. And I personally think those are more attractive than if just having A and B with Medicaid. Because with the dual Advantage plans, they're going to throw in a lot of extra benefits that you don't have with Medicaid by itself. And you're still going to have wonderful coverage. And here's my point. A and B will coordinate with Medicaid. A may pays first, Medicaid pays second. But when it comes to Advantage Plan, what happens is the Advantage Plan is going to pay first, and they will then coordinate with Medicaid in the second payer position. And plus, then you get all the perks. There's a nice little dental benefits with those on those kind of plans. Just so you know, though, we call these plans dual eligibles. We call them dual SNPs, dual SNP. Dual, meaning eligible for Medicare and Medicaid, special needs plan. All right, so many do that. We write those. If you want some help with that, give us a call. We'd be delighted to share those details with you. All right, let's go. All right, hello again. Based on following you last year when I signed up, I did G. Question, if my carrier drops Plan G, can I move to another carrier without pre-qualification? Okay, number one, your carrier cannot drop your Plan G. If a company decides to no longer make new Medicare supplemental plans available, and that happens every now and then. I've been in this business 16 years. I think I've seen it happen a couple times. But everyone that has a plan with that carrier is not dropped. They cannot drop your plan. Now, they can choose to no longer make new supplemental plans available, but they still have to service your plan. So that can't happen. Now, when you talk about moving to another carrier without pre-qualifications, what happens is there are a few states that are called birthday rule states. And you can move carriers and plans. And there's specific rules, and I don't want to get into all that tonight, but I do want to make sure at least people know that there are birthday rule states. Missouri it's called the anniversary. It's tied to the anniversary of the policy, not to the birthday, but all the rest are birthday. And that means that you can take action around your birthday. Some companies, some states are 30 days before, 30 days after, some are 60 days after your birthday, but you have this window where you can actually move carriers and plans, and it's normally, we call it this, like to like or like to less. So if I have a G plan, I'm in a birthday state, I can move a G to a G, or I can probably go down. I can do a G to an N with no underwriting around my birthday. All right, now those birthday rule states right now, I think I have most of them memorized. That would be California, Oregon, Washington. Now Washington, by the way, is year-round switching. If you're on a supplemental plan, you can switch year-round, not just birthday. Idaho, Nevada, Oklahoma, Illinois, Louisiana, again, Missouri, I mentioned, Kentucky, Maryland. And there's a couple new ones there's legislation in a few states that are looking at that right now. But again, about a dozen states where you can do that, no qualifications. So back to your question. If you're on a G plan and you want to move to a G or N and you're not in a birthday rule state, then you will have to medically qualify to make that move. But please, I've never seen the MedSup company drop you where you have to go find another plan. And if that did happen where they went out of business, I can assure you the state where you are would make provision for everyone to be able to move to another company, same plan without any kind of underwriting, and there would be probably a 60-day window for that to happen. But again, that part of it, I've never seen that particular thing happen. All right, let's keep going. All right, I'm facing a possible spinal cord stimulator. I have Plan N. I'm in my 6-month window, so I can change to Plan G if it would save me a lot more. Thoughts? Well, Steve, I would say that there are, if you decided to do that, then as long as you're within 6 months of your B date, it's no problem at all. The N can be canceled, and the G, you can make that effective April 1 if you want. So yes, you can do that. As far as thoughts, I don't think an N plan is, if you do keep it, I don't think you're making a bad decision. Now, if you would be concerned that there could be some care in the future, that you're going to go to a certain specialty clinic or whatever and they charge excess, then I definitely would be switching to a G. But if you, again, decide not to, I don't think you're making a mistake. So you may want to explore some of the providers that are going to be taking care of you with this whole spinal cord stimulator issue and see if they do charge excess. Now keep this in mind. Hospitals cannot charge excess. Durable medical equipment providers cannot charge excess either. Pharmacies don't, only physicians. Either a physician is a participating physician or a non-participating physician. 95% participate, 5% do not, and the 95% that do accept Medicare and reimbursement rates as payment in full. The other 5% do not. Again, they're going to add to the bill. All right, so hopefully that helps. But again, I don't think you've made a bad decision if you stay on it either way. But again, do your due diligence and see what you think if it would actually pay for itself if you had a potential excess. All right, let's keep going. Okay, I got Plan G through your company, Plan D at zero cost. I'm sure there's a better Plan D. What are the costs? Okay, well, if you're on a zero cost plan right now, you're definitely on a WellCare plan. They call it WellCare Value. And so a better Plan D. When I look at Plan D plans, I'm always looking at formulary. So it is true, Daniel, that there are better D plan formularies than that WellCare Zero Premium. However, if your meds are presently covered and you're on that plan, then I wouldn't worry about it because if your meds change, then every year, October 15th to December 7th, you can select a new Part D plan. So if it's working now and the formulary is sufficient for you, I would stay on the plan. And frankly, other than what they call an SPAP, you can't change drug plans at this time of the year. Now, if you live in a state where they have a state pharmacy assistance program, then that may be a possibility. But drug plans, as a general rule, need to be switched October 15th through December 7th, and the new plan goes into effect January 1. My point is, if it's working, I would stay on it, don't worry about it. And then later this year, October 15th, December 7th, reevaluate the medications you're taking, and if you would like to upgrade a little bit and maybe get a broader or better formulary and pay a slight premium for it, then that would be fine. There are plans out there right now in the neighborhood of $20 that are probably going to have a better formula than what WellCare has. But again, I'd explore that later this year. All right. I turn 65 next month, and they just took out $185 from my check for Part B. I'm staying on my husband's insurance. Should they have taken the $185 now at this time? Okay. You're turning 65 next month. Well, let me ask you this. Deanne, is your birthday April 1? Because if so, they would have moved the clock back to March if your birthday is April 1. If your birthday is April 2nd thereafter, then I would have expected them to take that first premium the month up because Part B premiums are paid month up, not 1 month prior, unless of course you're born on the 1st. So I've never seen what happened to you. Now let's talk about your other question about you're going to stay on your husband's insurance. There's two things about this. Well, three things. Number one is the group 20 or more. If it is, that's in your favor. You can get off of it. Number two, what does it cost you? What does it cost your husband to cover you? And so if it costs him any more than $150, $250, let's say $250 a month, then Medicare still may make sense for you. But if it's costing him less than $250 a month to cover you, and it's a good plan, reasonable deductible, you're happy with the network, you're happy with the coverage, then what I would do then, number 3, is I would disenroll from Part B. I would. You can cancel it. And the 2 ways you do that, if you're new to Medicare, if you haven't thrown away the paperwork yet, when they sent the card, they gave you an option to disenroll from Part B on the back of the card. And you just turn the card over, it says, I do not want medical insurance, which is Part B. You sign the card, mail it back in, and they will drop off B, send you a new card, A only, and then you can pick up B at a later date whenever your husband decides to retire. That's one way. The second way is to fill out a form called 1763. 1763. You can Google it, CMS 1763, and you'll put in your name, your address, and remember, when it comes to your Part B, they'll either call it medical or they'll call it supplemental. Part A is hospital, but the B, they use those other 2 words. So you and I may think of supplemental as supplemental plans. The form, I think, calls the Part B supplement or medical. So you can put in there when you want to stop that. And so if you want it stopped, then I would put in there, drop that 3/31/2025, and then in the comments section, tell them why you're dropping Part B. And that is because you're on an employer plan that's better than Medicare, and you don't need Part B. And it's fine. You can get out of it. All right. So again, this issue of a month in advance, I've never heard of that. But that'd be my course of action if I were you. Good group plans, take A only, don't take B, pick up B at a later date, and you'll still be able to qualify for a Medigap open enrollment period, because the B date is the key date when we decide, can we get a supplemental plan without any underwriting. That's 6 months of the B date. So cancel the B, pick it up later. All right, next. I'm retired military. Understand my TRICARE will convert to TRICARE for life. You're right. When I retire and sign up for Medicare and B, true. What plan do you suggest I acquire to get pharmacy, vision, and dental coverage? Okay, well, first off, when it comes to pharmacy, your TRICARE is going to have a Part D plan, and let me say it differently. It's going to have a drug coverage included, and it's Part D equivalent. It's credible coverage, so TRICARE insurance is credible, so you would not have to have a Part D plan. What I think I would check into if I were you, I do know that you have the potential of a max out-of-pocket on TRICARE for life of $3,000, including prescription drugs. And so what many people in your position are doing is they will take what is called an MA only plan. MA stands for Medicare Advantage only. No prescription drug included, because why? You can get your meds through your TRICARE plan, and they get an MA only plan, which is for in and out, inpatient, outpatient. So here's what happens. TRICARE for Life will either coordinate benefits with that Medicare Advantage company, or they'll coordinate with A and B. So veterans that, retired military that want hearing aid options, gym membership options, dental allowance, vision allowance, all those kind of things, they will enroll in an MA only plan with all those perks, get their meds using their TRICARE for life insurance. And then what happens, the insurance company, the Advantage company, will give you a credit back on your Part B premium. And sometimes it's $150, $175 a month. So that Part B is almost fully covered by that Medicare Advantage plan. Why? Because they're not having to take care of your meds. You're letting your TRICARE insurance do that. And the good thing with you is if you don't like that switch, if you do get an MA only plan, every year during the Medicare open enrollment season, you can go right back to TRICARE for Life and A and B. You can do that. So it's not a permanent decision. But we have a lot of retired military TRICARE for Life people that do that. All righty, I have VA Health is MA only plan the best way to go. Here's the way I feel, Hawkeye. If you are happy with the VA system, meaning you fully intend to get the majority of your care through the VA, then I think an MA only is a wonderful way to go. I do. At least it gives you a civilian option. Yeah, again, you get some of the perks that VA is not going to offer you. Now, I would tell you if you like the VA, I wouldn't get a supplemental plan. I just think that's too much insurance. But you can get an MA only plan today with the zero premium. You have the civilian option, and the reason you can get these I think is a good option is because you served our country, so that's why you have VA benefits, and you paid into the Medicare tax system through FICA taxes, and that's why you qualify for that. So for me, I'd want to take advantage of both systems. You just have to be enrolled in A and B. That's it. Alrighty, husband looking to hold out this year, 65 in July, due to my disability. I'll be on disability 2 years in September. I turn 65 June 2026. What plans can I receive after disability? Okay. I'm assuming, what's this? You turn 65 in 2026. I sure wish I knew what. So Daniel, can you interpret that? Is this 2 years in September? Okay. First off, let me say this. I'm not saying you understand your question. I don't fully. Okay, I don't. It was a little too abbreviated for me.
Been on disability for 2 years this September.
I will be on disability 2 years in September. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Thank you. So what's going to happen is in September, you'll be automatically enrolled into Medicare A and B. You'll get your card about 3 months before that. So back up the clock, August, July, June. Card's going to show up at the end of May. Okay, you'll have your card. And your A and B dates are going to be 9/1 of 2025. Okay, so here's your options. In some states, you may be able to get a supplemental plan. Federal law does not mandate that all states require their insurance companies to offer Medicare supplemental plans to those people that are underage, meaning coming through disability, not aging in at 65. So some states do not offer Medicare supplemental plans. Federal law says they don't have to, but some states make insurance companies do it. Now, there's a couple of variables here. They allow them to do it, but they can charge more money. That means usually very high. They allow them to do it, and they can charge a little extra, or they allow them to do it, or make them do it, and they have to charge the same rates as someone turning 65. So if I were you, I would want to find out what is the MedSup market available for me in my state. And by the way, Sue, call in. We write all over the country. Any agent you talk to is going to be able to tell you exactly what's going on in your state. So that's the first thing. What are your options now coming into Medicare before 65? Can you get a supplemental plan? If you can, I would look at the prices, see if that makes sense. If you can't, then I would get a Medicare Advantage plan, because I would much rather have an Advantage plan than A and B only. A and B only has no stop loss limit, just keeps on going and going, but at least the Advantage plan is going to have a stop to it, a max out of pocket, so I like that. Now, here's what's going to happen. Then later, here in June of 2026, you're going to enter into what we call your IEP-2. And this is your second opportunity now to reset the clock, and now you can for sure get a Medicare supplemental plan. Even if you can't now, you'll be able to then, and there's no underwriting whatsoever. And so that period of time is going to open up 3 months before June. So we back up the clock, May, April, March. So anytime after March 1, you'll be able to apply for a Medicare supplemental plan to begin June 1, 2026. No health questions asked. They'll cover all your pre-existing conditions. No extra premium whatsoever. So you can reset the clock here next year. Okay, that's it. Let's keep going. Okay, if I sell my house for a profit, do I pay a large IRMA as well as capital gains? Okay, well, number one, there is a capital gain exclusion on residences that in the last 5 years you have occupied it for 2 years, owned it for 2 years. Okay, and if you have not exercised that exclusion and you qualify within those parameters there, for a single person, you're excluded up to $250,000 of the profit. A married couple, up to $500,000. Now, again, you can't exercise that. If you exercised that a year ago, can't do it again. So they'll let you do that every 2 years, as long as you, again, pass the test of ownership 2 years, occupied 2 years in the last 5. All right. So let's say that we're above that. We're above the 250, or we're going to be above the 500 as far as your profit is concerned. It is true that it will be a long-term capital gain. And so that capital gain is now taxable income, and it will be reported on your tax return. If you do it this year, it's going to affect your 2027 premium. Remember, because they always look back 2 years. So if you do it this year, so again, if we stay below those exclusionary thresholds, it is a non-issue at all, because it's not going to have to be reported as subject to income taxes. Only the portion above the limits would be reported, and then it would, because it's going to count towards your IRMA. This year, the IRMA, you got to be below 106,000 single filer, below 212,000 as a married filing a joint return. All right, keep going. Okay, I plan to sign up for Medicare A, B, G, and D in May. My spouse still works and is on his employer health plan. I plan to stay on his vision and dental plan. Can my spouse continue as HSA? Thanks. Yes. So here's the way it works. As long as your spouse does not enroll in A or B, then your spouse can continue to contribute that individual amount. Okay, once you take and not no longer on that plan, and you go on and do what you say you're going to do here, A, B, G, and D, then he or she cannot contribute towards the family amount. Now, all the money that's in there can be used for anybody that's a dependent in the family, as long as it's a qualifying expense. But no new contributions can go in on your behalf. But he can continue on, or she, whoever is the worker, they'll continue on contributing. This year, that maximum individual contribution is $4,300 for the year, plus $1,000 catch-up if you're over 55. And so you can put a full $5,300 in based upon that worker's account. Okay, just no more for you. So once you take A, B, or anything, just be sure no family contribution is going in after that. All right, let's keep going. If I spend about 60% of my time abroad, is it really worth buying a supplemental plan? I have a Medicare Advantage now with substantial cash back just for the time that I'm in the USA. Well, you know what, Angela? If you're happy with your coverage abroad, whatever insurance you have, and you spend that much time there, I probably would do just what you're doing. I'd probably just stick with my Advantage plan. I really would. Now, if I was abroad somewhere where I can't really get good care, the only way I could get good care is come back to the U.S., I would probably do a supplemental plan. But if you're happy with wherever you live and the coverage there, I think doing what you've done is a fine thing to do. I'd stick with it. All right, when I call in to sign up for everything with you, what information do you need for my Plan D? Thanks. Okay, the way it works is we will need, of course, your medications that you're taking, the exact med. So if it's generic, we want that. Brand, if it's that. Your dosage, frequency. And then your pharmacy choices. That's all we need. Now, let me share something with you. As we work with people, we'll have people say, well, I take that PRN or as needed. Well, tell us what that looks like. Is that if it's some kind of a dermatology cream? Are you going through 1 tube a year or 4 tubes a year? We like to know that. As needed does not help us. We don't want to guess as to what that means. If you say, well, I rarely take it. I haven't taken it for 3 years. Well, then I wouldn't put that in my formulary because one drug could put you in a whole different drug plan. So we just want up-to-date, accurate information, name of medication, dosage, frequency, and then tell us if it's not a maintenance med, how often you do that medication. And we'd be happy to help with that. All right, next. Okay, does Medicare accept x-rays from surgical centers in order to get chiropractic treatments paid for? I injured my lower back and need x-rays to see if I can have chiropractic treatment or not. Okay, well, the answer is this. Of course, Medicare doesn't pay for any x-rays at a chiropractic office. So here's the way I would answer the question. If your chiropractor is willing to look at those x-rays from another source that did take Medicare, then I can see no problem there whatsoever. So as far as the coverage for chiropractic care with Medicare, it's going to be the adjustment of the spine. That's it. Medicare doesn't cover anything else but the adjustment of the spine and sometimes acupuncture with a few qualifiers. Okay? And so if you got, in fact, what you're saying is a great idea. If you can get them covered somewhere else that Medicare will indeed cover, and you can move those to a chiropractor, I don't know why your chiropractor wouldn't treat you then moving forward. That's a smart thing to do. But again, it's still just going to be limited to the adjustments of the spine. So as long as that chiropractor takes Medicare, those services then should be covered. All right, I will reach full retirement age by July 1st. I plan to continue working until the end of the year since I can collect both checks without penalties. Do I need to activate Medicare A and B with a supplemental plan? Okay, well, if you're going to continue to work to the end of the year and you have a good group plan and there's 20 employees or more on the payroll, okay, you don't have to do anything at all with A or B. Now, here's what's going to happen, though. As soon as you start taking your Social Security, you're going to be automatically enrolled into Medicare A because anyone that's taking Social Security has to have Medicare A, but you don't have to have B. So what I would do if I were advising you is this. I don't know if you've applied yet for your Social Security, but if you haven't, what I would do is when you come to the question where they ask you, do you want Medicare B, just say no to that. Now, let me give you a heads up. when you do that, there's going to be a pop-up comes up that's going to warn you, are you sure you don't want to take B? If you don't take B, you could be penalized. And that's true if you weren't working. But if you're working, you're not going to be penalized. And so if it were me, I would take Social Security. I'm going to be enrolled in A. And then if you're going to work towards the end in the year, about 3 months before you get ready to retire, call us. We'd love to help you. And then you can select your supplemental plan and get enrolled in Part B with the proper paperwork, because you're coming in under what's called the special enrollment period. And we'll do all that for you. Okay, so that would be my plan of action if we were to help you. Let us know. We'd love to. Let's keep going. Okay, something to consider. I live in a smaller town. All doctors have band together and not accept any Advantage plans, only supplement. Good to know before Medicare sign up. Hey, you know what? I understand that. There are lots of doctor groups that are fed up with Advantage plans. They are low pay and they're slow pay. That's the reputation they have. Medicare pays, frankly, pretty quickly, and supplemental plans pay real quickly. Okay, so I understand why doctors are dropping those plans, and plus all the pre-authorizations. What a hassle that is. So appreciate you sharing that with us. Okay, 257 Part B, I thought it was $185 per month. Okay, Josephine, the $185 per month is the Part B premium. The $257 was the 2025 Part B deductible, and that's just paid once a year. The $185 is per month. The $257 is once a year responsibility that you have on the B side of Medicare. So again, we're talking about two totally different things here. Great question, though. Okay, what is the average annual percentage of increase on Plan G? Oh boy, you all, this has really been all over the board. I would say right now, I wouldn't be shocked with somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10%. Okay, it could be a little less, could be a little bit more. The whole market had a huge correction last year because really people just stopped doing a lot of services during the COVID years for a couple of years, and then go back to it, and then it caused healthcare services to be used more, and that drove the prices up. So again, around that 10% range would be reasonable. All right, let's keep going. Do you keep mentioning services that Medicare covers? What does Medicare not cover? Well, a couple things. Number one, we've already talked about chiropractic care. Medicare only covers adjustments of the spine. At a chiropractor's office, no, like heat therapy, no traction, no x-rays, those kinds of things. Medicare will not cover any kind of an elective cosmetic surgery. I'm getting wrinkles. I'm getting more and more of them as I age. Well, Medicare doesn't care about my wrinkles. Now, if I'm in a car wreck and I have an accident or something like that, and there needs to be some reconstruction, then Medicare will pay for that kind of surgery, just not elective. Medicare will not cover any type of what's called custodial care. That means that someone's in a nursing facility, and custodial care means they need assistance, substantial assistance with eating or bathing or dressing or continence issues, transferring from the wheelchair to the stool or the bed, or they can't take their own medications because of Alzheimer's or dementia. Those are called custodial needs. Medicare does not cover those if that's the only thing being treated. Now, if I have a stroke and I have custodial needs, as I'm going through my therapy and all that, Medicare will cover custodial. But once I've recovered, I'm on my own with custodial needs. So Medicare doesn't cover, nor will your supplemental plan. Also, Medicare doesn't cover anything outside the U.S. At all. So if you have a problem outside the United States, you're on your own. Now, supplemental plans, a couple of them, 6 of them actually, will cover $50,000 for foreign travel emergency benefits. But beyond that, Medicare didn't cover anything. And so that's kind of a sampling. Oh, Medicare didn't cover any dental unless it's major dental. You had cancer of the jaw and they have to do some reconstruction of the teeth, or you're having a kidney transplant or something, or a heart transplant or heart issue, and they'll go in and they'll make sure your teeth are healthy orally, or that you're healthy before they do an operation. But root canals and crowns and extractions and fillings, Medicare doesn't cover any of that. All right, so hopefully that helps. That's just a general list there of things they won't cover. What's next, Daniel? Okay, should I pay for Medicare or private insurance? Well, if you're eligible for Medicare, you're not going to have a private insurance option. You're not. Now, if you're working, you have a group plan, then I would compare the group plan with my Medicare option. But there is no private insurance available to you today once you're Medicare eligible. at all. So you have to go on Medicare unless you or your spouse are working and have an employer-provided group plan. Otherwise, you have to start at 65. So there is no private insurance option whatsoever. All right, let's keep going. If I change Advantage plans with same or different company on April 1st, will the amount paid on my MOOP start all over or be applied to the new policy? You know, that is a great question. Number one, don't make a change April 1st. I hope you mean by like March 31st, the new carrier. I think it's tied to the plan itself. And by the way, William, I could be wrong on that one. I honestly have never had that come up. Now, those of you that are watching this are saying, what's he even talking about? Anyone that owns an Advantage plan on January 1, you got to own it, you have to be on one January 1, has the first 3 months of the year to actually switch Advantage plans. You can do that one time during those first 3 months. And so when we switch, and what he's saying is, let's say if I spent $1,500 over here with ABC Insurance Company, and then I switch, I go with the new company, will that $1,500 apply to the new one? And I don't think so. I really don't, because each plan, is different, and it's going to have its own different max out of pocket. So I do not think it carries over. I really don't. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, I turned 65 September 1 this year. My wife is 66. And on my company plan, we will both be signing up in September to begin October 1. Any concerns, roadblocks? Okay, potholes. Okay. Well, the first thing is, if you're turning 65 September 1, that means your Medicare actually eligibility is going to begin August. That's the first thing. So remember that. Anyone born on the first day of the month, we always move the clock back 1 month. They treat you as though you were born the last day of the previous month. Now, if I'm born September 2nd to the end of the month, that's my month, September. But on the first, move it to August. That's number one. Number two, if you're on your company's plan, your wife is, if you're going to keep working, and there's 20 or more employees on that plan, and it's a good plan, meaning it's affordable, the deductible's good, the network's good. In other words, you like that plan, you do not have to take Medicare A or B. Now, it's fine to take A as long as you're not going to contribute to an HSA. Anyone who has a health savings account and you're going to keep contributing, especially if you're maxing on it, don't do anything with Medicare, okay? But if you don't have an HSA, but you do have a good group plan that you and your wife are going to be on and you're going to continue to work, take A only. That's what I would do. Now, if you're going to say, hey, we're going to go ahead and retire, and that's all fine. Now, here's the way this would work. We will both be signing up in September to begin October. Any concerns? No. Roadblocks? No. I like your plan. Now remember this, your wife is going to come into Medicare differently than you. You're coming in during what we call the initial enrollment period. Now what you have to make sure of for her is that she's had credible insurance back to 65. I'm sure she has, probably through your work plan. And there's some paperwork involved with that, Tim. And if you want us to help you through that process, it's called the SEP enrollment. There's an L564 and a CMS 40B that need to be filled out properly. Your HR department will complete one of those forms. You started, but they'll complete it. And if you want help with that, we'll help you do that. So you're coming in an IEP, that's at 65. She's coming in after 65 using the SEP, and it needs to be done correctly. Call us and we'll help you. Let's go. Okay, does Medicare cover serious eye care and eye degeneration? Absolutely. Yeah, Medicare has great coverage. Macular degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts, all covered by Medicare, all covered by your supplemental plan. The only thing that original Medicare does not cover and supplemental plans do not cover would be two things. Number one, eyewear and eye exams for eyewear. Everything else Medicare covers well. An Advantage plan, they will give you one eye exam a year, a basic one, and then a credit towards eyewear. So that's kind of where they differ. I definitely wouldn't take an Advantage plan just because of that, for sure. Yeah. The only reason, in my opinion, anyone should take an Advantage plan is if they're, again, going to use VA like we talked about, a TRICARE for life, or they just cannot afford a Supplemental Plan G or N. It just doesn't fit the budget. That's when you get a supplemental plan. Okay, but otherwise, if you can afford a little extra, get a G or N plan and have great coverage for the rest of your life. You'll love it. All right, let's keep going. Okay, currently have BBC Plan N, Blue Cross Blue Shield, went up $71. I have no dental or vision, ready to switch to Advantage Plan just to get all those perks, okay? That's fine. Now, Karen, the way this is going to work is put down the dates, October 15th to December 7th. Yeah, because you cannot switch off of subs to get an Advantage Plan at this time of the year. It's not a possibility at all. All right, so October 15th, December 7th is the time you'll switch. Your Blue Cross Blue Shield plan will cover you through the end of the year. The Advantage plan that you select between October 15th and December 7th will go into effect January 1. Okay, that's when you'll take that action. And let us know, Karen. Call us and we'll help you. About 3 months in advance of October 15th, I start looking at those plans. Okay, Daniel, I'm going to have to sit down. Okay, folks, I'm getting old. I'm going to sit down. Sorry. Man. Okay, if I change states, do I have to change Plan G provider? No. All G plans are portable. So let's just say, our office is in Kansas. I live on the Missouri side. Let's say I'm in Missouri and I retire and go to Arizona. Not a bad place to go. I take my G plan with me. So all plans, G and N, are portable. So wherever you live, you relocate, it goes with you. Now, I will tell you this, some states when you relocate, their prices may be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower. And so the only thing the insurance company can do is they can re-rate your premium. And I've seen it go down, I've seen it go up, but I've never seen it go up crazy high where someone wanted to drop one. That's never happened, at least in my career of 16 years. But that's all they can do. They can't cancel because of relocation, because they're guaranteed renewable for life as long as you pay the premium. All right, next. All right, if you just start Medicare and go on a new medication, how do you report that to your Part D plan of Medicare? All right, you don't have to, at all. What you want to do is, if you want to be proactive, you want to go online and check the formulary to see if that medication's covered. But you don't have to notify them at all. What I would do, and if you want to see it, if it's in the formulary, if you're curious, just go get the prescription filled, and you'll find out if it's covered or not. And there are a couple rules that Medicare has. They have a thing called step therapy. So if it's a brand new medication you never used before and there just happens to be a generic equivalent or alternative, you may have to try the lower cost meds. Or if it's a real expensive medication or addictive, it may have what's called prior authorization, which means the pharmacy will fill it after the doctor has said this is why we need it and the plan approves it. All right, so those are just some kind of cost control tools that Medicare allows all Part D plans to utilize, and they all do. Okay, but as far as notifying them, you don't have to. Go get the script filled, make sure it's covered. That's all you need to do. All righty, I have an F plan. Premium's gotten too expensive. What to call to switch to G? Well, call the number right there, the 833. See it going across the screen there? Call us, and let's find out where you live, and let's go through what your options are, and then we'll find out what it's going to take to switch you. And we'd be delighted to have that conversation with you. Just give us a call. You can call right now. You can get into an agent or at least get an appointment up set for tomorrow or something, and we'll tell you what you need to do, options, qualifications, all that kind of stuff. Happy to help you with that. Okay, I beat my full retirement age on August 6, 2025. I would like to receive my benefits at my full retirement age. Can I start my benefits in August, or should I wait until September? Okay, here's the way it works. You can start your benefits in August, but remember, you're not going to get your first check until September. Social Security checks are always 1 month in arrears. And so if I were you, that's what I would do. If I'm going through the application, you can do it 4 months in advance. So let's back up the clock. August, July, June, May, April. Okay, soon. Anytime after April 1, you should be able to go online. If you have an myssa.gov account, go online and you'll go through the application for Social Security, and then it's going to ask you, when do you want to begin your benefits? And so it'll give you a range of so much. And another option they'll give you is you'll say, I want my benefits with no reduction, which means they're saying, do you want to start at full retirement age? And the answer is yes. So your month will be August. It doesn't matter. Now, if you were born August 1, we could go back to July, but you were born August 6th. And so just select the month of August, and then you're going to get your check. Now, you're born on August 6th, so you're going to get your direct deposit check no later than the second Wednesday of the month. That's the way this system works. we get our direct deposits based upon our birthday. So anyone that's born the first 10 days of the month has their check no later than the second Wednesday, the next 10 days no later than the third Wednesday, and then the last 10 days of the month no later than the fourth Wednesday. That's the direct deposit, 1 month in arrears. All right, let's keep going. Prior military, only 8 years, never used VA medical service after getting out. When I go on Medicare, do I need to get military drug program or Medicare drug program? Well, Cynthia, what I would do, number one, is contact the VA and find out what you're eligible for first. And so they have different VA eligibility. I mean, some people have 100%, some have less. So I can't answer your question until I know what VA benefits you're eligible for. If it's kind of lousy or mediocre, then I would get a drug plan. I would. But if it's a good benefit and you're going to the VA, then use that program, because my understanding is that the VA will only fill prescriptions that are written by VA docs. So if you're going outside the civilian docs, they're probably not going to fill them anyways. So if you have the money, and it's in your budget, I would get a Supplemental Plan G or N, get a standalone drug plan that fits you for this year. Don't worry about 5 years from now, because you can always change drug plans every year. So let's deal with the meds you're taking now. And that's why I'd handle that. You could also get, if you like the VA, but I don't think you're using it, or you don't even know what your benefits are. So, but if you did find that you like the VA and you're going to use them, then I would just get an MA only plan, Medicare Advantage only. Use the VA when you want, and use your civilian option, MA only, and that's just the most affordable way to go about that. But again, if you don't know what VA benefits you have, then you got to find that out first, and if you're not happy with it, then I'd get a Supplemental Plan G or N if I could afford it. All right, do you recommend people signing up for SSA benefits plus Medicare B and D at the same time? I am 68 years of age and have not started collecting, retiring in September this year. Well, I think that is the easiest. I will tell you this, though. Evangeline, if we were working with you, we'd be happy to do all this for you, okay? The only problem with doing them all at the same time, and I just had this happen last week, if the person who's processing your Social Security application doesn't pay attention to when you want your B to start, sometimes they start it too early, okay? A month or too early, and that's a pain in the neck, okay? So what I would do is I would go ahead and apply for Social Security 4 months in advance. So it looks like to me you're going to retire in September. So let's say you want to start in October. So if you want your Social Security check, well, let me say this. If you want your first Social Security check to arrive in October, then you need to make your benefits start in September, 1 month in arrears. So what I would do is this. Let's back up the clock from September. August, July, June, May. 4 months in advance. So what you can do is around that time, and again, we'll do this for you if you work with us. So May 1 on, I would do a Social Security application and an A only. That's all I would do. And then to come into B, we're going to have your special enrollment paperwork anyways. That's just 2 documents, the L564 and the 40B. Your employer is going to fill out the L564. Now, by the way, folks, employers don't initiate the L564. You have to initiate it. You work with us, we'll do that. But they have to complete it. And then the 40B is just you by yourself or us, and that tells them when you want to start your benefits. So if you're retiring in September, that tells me that you're probably going to be covered through September. By the work plan, you're going to want to start your Medicare B in October. All right, so start in May, Social Security and Part A only, and then do your special paperwork, and then you can submit that about 60 to 90 days before October 1, and it'll be a very seamless, very smooth transition. I promise you, we do this multiple times every single day, and we can take care of you on this, okay? All right, next. All right, which plans cover vision, dental? All right, so as a general rule, your Medicare Advantage plans are going to have some kind of a vision allowance and dental allowance. Most of them, I don't even say dental plan, vision plan, because they're not really plans. What they do is like a dental allowance means they'll give you maybe $1,000 or $1,500 a year towards preventive services, sometimes comprehensive services, but you have to make sure that your provider, your dentist, takes that plan. That's the problem with Medicare Advantage dental plans, dental allowances. Secondly, with vision, they're going to give you an allowance for eyewear, usually about $200, $250 a year, and they'll give you one eye exam. All right, so that's the way Advantage plans work. Now, if people want a dental plan or a vision plan and they get A and B with the supplemental plan, then those dental vision plans are separate. We call them ancillary. You can get a good dental plan today in the neighborhood of $50 a month, give or take, and you can get a vision plan for about $15 a month. But remember, when it comes to vision, Medicare is going to cover everything anyways, but eyewear and eye exams for eyewear. But again, $15 a month, that's very reasonable. So you can actually get standalone dental vision plans if you decide you're going to get A and B with the supplemental plan. Otherwise, you get Advantage, and it's going to be part of it. It'll be just embedded as a perk. All right, let's keep going. Oh, man. Okay, if increase in Medicare premium due to capital gains on home sale. Okay. All right. Well, first off, let me ask you a last question. What if you buy another home? It doesn't really matter what you do with the profit on the sale of that home. If you sell a home and you qualify for the exclusion, you can do this every 2 years. So what they do is they have a test. It's a 5-year test. They say in the last 5 years, have you occupied the home 2 years and have you owned it 2 years? Those could be separate, but both of those tests have to pass. And so the exclusion for a single filer is $250,000 of profit or less, married filing a joint return, $500,000 or less. Okay, so if you're below those exclusion amounts, this is a non-issue. Now, if it's a short-term capital gain, then all that's going to be counted. And so your Medicare premiums are affected by capital gains, but the sale of the house have these special rules, so remember that. But if you are going to be paying a capital gains tax, you're above the exclusion or didn't qualify for it, then yes, that amount is only going to affect you for 1 year. So if I sold a home this year in 2025, that's going to affect me in 2027. Okay, but it doesn't carry over year to year because Part B premiums and the IRMAs, that's what you're talking about, the surcharges, are recalculated every single year. Okay, Daniel. Hang on just a second. We're looking at questions. All right, when going through underwriting because I have breast cancer, what increase we are talking about? Hundreds of thousands. Okay, through underwriting because going through underwriting because I have. Okay, well, here's the thing. If you presently are undergoing breast cancer treatment, there is no way you're going to go through underwriting right now. Okay, you're not going to get approved. It'll just be a flat denial. They're not going to give you a higher premium. They're going to give you no policy whatsoever. Now, listen, if you're within 6 months of your B date, that original Medicare B date, there is no underwriting. If you have breast cancer, they've got to take you. Okay, they just have to, so you don't even have to worry about it. I've had plenty of people, sadly, that were turning 65 in the middle of cancer treatment, and they still got a supplemental plan because the insurance companies during that 6-month window of your B date cannot deny your policy. Okay, now if we're after 6 months of the B date, and now we're trying to change policies where we have to go through underwriting, or you're on an Advantage plan and you want to get off of it and get a supplemental plan, breast cancer will be a declinable issue. Okay, worst case scenario, make sure you're on an Advantage plan. At least they have a max out of pocket, and those are going to be anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000. But if you had A and B only, then that's a terrible position to be in. So, my opinion, the best are supplemental plans. Second best, Advantage. Third best, last would be A and B by itself. All righty, I retired 2025 at 65. I signed up for original Medicare with United Healthcare Plan G. $325 a month. Yeah, you must live, I would believe you'd be in the East Coast on that premium. Should I have gone with Plan N? Also, I live in New York City and signed up with, okay, and you'll have to forgive me. I'm not familiar with the NYS Epic. That's news to me. Now, listen, we write in New York all the time, so our agents would be very educated about New York and this EPIC. I would tell you this. The agents tell me that in New York, they are primarily writing in plans. New York is one of those states where they can charge excess. There's a limit of 5%. That's it. It doesn't happen very often anyway. So if you would like, just call back in, and we can help you make that switch from a G to an N and find the right carrier. So I think that would be a fine move. $325 is a lot, and in plans I think in New York are about $100 a month cheaper. Again, call in. You can call in right now, and they'll tell you exactly what those rates are and what's involved in the process of moving from the G to the N in your state. All right, let's keep going. Okay, is TRICARE for Life a good plan? Is it considered an advantage or sup? Okay, well, yes, TRICARE for Life is a good plan. And by the way, thank you for serving our country. That's why you have that. You retired from the military. So yes, it is a good plan. It is not considered an advantage plan for sure. And it would be similar to a supplemental plan in that it pays second to Medicare. See, when you have an advantage plan, you enrolled in A and B, but you're not in Medicare anymore. You're in a replacement private health insurance company has replaced A and B for you. So supplemental plans pay second to Medicare, and that's what TRICARE for Life does. Now, I would tell you, in your position, though I love supplemental plans, I don't think you need one. I really don't. The only issue that you're going to have to deal with is TRICARE doesn't have any additional perks that are nice. Plus, they have a $3,000 max out of pocket. So what a lot of people that have TRICARE are doing they're enrolling into what's called a Medicare Advantage only plan, MA only. The drug coverage, your drugs, you still get through TRICARE, but you get your medical and everything else, you have a Medicare Advantage plan, and then TRICARE pays second to that. And so lots of TRICARE people do that. And the beauty is, and I shared this earlier, it's not a lifelong commitment. If you do an MA-only plan and say you don't like it, you can change it in any year during open enrollment, go right back to A and B with TRICARE. So we find most just stick with it. They love it. But again, that is an option for you. We'd be happy to help with that. Call in and we can show you that, tell you your options in your area. Okay, let's go. Okay, doesn't matter with company I go with for Plan G. Why the huge difference in cost? Okay, Don, as far as coverage is concerned, what bills are paid, types of bills, amount of bills, no difference. They're identical, and that's because Medicare standardizes all plans. So a G is a G is a G is a G is a G, and N is an N is an N is an N, no matter who you use as far as the carrier goes. So what matters is the initial premium rate. I care about that, and I also care about the stability of that company's rates. Stability matters. Now, again, I'm going to look at initial premium, but for me, I'm just not going to look at the cheapest. Now, if the lowest cost happens to be a company that's very stable, I love that. But sometimes the lowest cost maybe is not the most stable long term. So you got to do your homework, and we'll do that for you. Let's look back at the last 10 years and see the type of price increases, the amount, how much, the drastic price increases, how often. And you want to look at a company that has a good market share. I have a crazy illustration, but I think it is the best. It's kind of silly. But what I'm looking for is a company that has a good market share, meaning you're in a market where they have tens of thousands of policyholders, not a few hundred. Okay, and the reason is because when I have a group that I'm in that has tens and tens of thousands of policyholders, the risk for healthcare is spread out to more policyholders, which gives me more stable rates. If I'm in a small group, maybe a regional or a local type carrier, if I have a couple thousand or a few hundred, and there's health problems, that thing's going to go through the roof. And so the illustration is if I'm in an ocean and I'm in a canoe versus being in a cruise ship, it's a different ride. If I'm in the canoe, I feel every wave. That's the small group MedSup plan. Not many people in that group. You're going to feel the impact of health problems there. But if you're in the cruise ship, you're in the ocean, you hardly even know you're in the ocean sometimes. It's that smooth. You don't feel the impact. So I like being in the cruise ship. And the MedSup plan that's a cruise ship is a company that has a very large market share. More than likely, they're going to give you a much smoother ride as far as price increases. They're all going to go up, folks. Everything goes up in medical because of inflation. Advantage plans go up too. They may not change the premium, but they change the max out of pocket, some of the copays, okay? They all go up. So I'm looking for initial premium and stability of rates. That's what you look at. And again, we take the time to dig into that with those people who we work with. Okay. CPAP machines. The answer is yes. However, I think with the CPAP machine, I think there are some qualifiers. And I believe there has to be some kind of a certain, sleep test and proper diagnosis of sleep apnea and all that kind of stuff. So they do cover them for sure. But I would ask you to be sure to talk to the CPAP provider or your doctor and find out exactly what is necessary to get a prescription for a CPAP machine that will then be covered by Medicare. That's the two factors. I think there's some health criteria. You just can't want one. I doubt you'd want one anyways unless you needed it. But we got to prove that. And number two, you want to be sure to use a durable medical equipment provider that's contracted with Medicare. That's where you're going to get your best prices. Okay, so those are the two issues. All right, what's next? I turned 65 January 5th, 2026. By the way, you are 2 days younger than me. We're very similar in age. Yeah. And so when do I contact you? Just back up the clock 90 days. So December, November, October. Now, if I were you, what I would do, the new drug plans for 2026 would be out October 1. I would do that after that. Sometimes the computer's a little glitchy for a couple weeks. So really anytime after the 15th of October, you can start making decisions. You got plenty of time to enroll. Drug plans will be out by then. The whole system will be smoothed out. Because every year we get new drug plans, we get them around the 1st of October. But most of the computer systems are a little glitchy for a while. But by the 15th, they usually have that ironed out pretty well. So October 15th would be perfect. Give us a call. We will help you. We'd be thrilled to be your broker. Alrighty, let's keep going. My husband is on Advantage and gets a hematology visit and blood draw every 3 months. He was also hospitalized for 4 days and not one bill. Are we lucky or is this the plan? Okay, well, right now you're lucky because I've never seen an Advantage plan where you did not have a copay to the hospital. So what's happening right now is the hospital has just not chosen to bill you. I can assure you if you go through your sum of your benefits or what they call the explanation of your benefits, there is a hospital copay. And it's not crazy high. Yours could be, $300, could be $400. So you definitely could be billed and should be billed for that hospital stay. But if the hospital chooses not to, then yeah, I'm glad that worked out for you that way. Now, as far as the hematology visit and the blood draw every 3 months, those should be covered services. But I've never seen that considered as any kind of like a preventive visit. So again, hematology visit would be a specialist visit. Those are anywhere from $25 to $50. And then again, whatever the blood draw would be, could be 20% coinsurance. It could be a very reasonable copay. So and then that's going to be crazy high, but none of those services you just mentioned are zero. Okay, so for some reason, the providers just haven't sent you that bill. So you're lucky. Let's keep going. Is it free to call you and get, oh yes. Felicia, it is free, I promise you. Now we don't work for free, but you don't have to pay us. Anytime you're working with an agent, the agent's always paid by the insurance company. And folks, this is the same way with your auto insurance, your homeowner's insurance. Those agents all get paid, but we're paid by the insurance company. So that's just the way this system works. Now, I want to note this though, Felicia. Let's say if you were to call ABC Insurance Company direct, and they quoted you a premium, and you call me and you're looking at the same company, I promise you the premium will be the same. We don't set the premiums, insurance companies do. So there's no additional cost to use a broker, an agent at all. Everyone that's on a G plan with ABC Insurance Company pays the same thing. There's no difference. So there's no cost savings to use us, nor any extra cost to use us. Okay, what I think you get with using us or somebody that's reputable is good knowledge, good help. We have our own customer support team, which is awesome for our clients. Most people today, when they call customer support, they're not going to end up in America. I'm telling you, they're going to an international call center, a broad call center, India, Philippines, China, somewhere. And you're going to get someone that you may or may not be able to understand, usually not. English is their second or third language. And I don't think they're trained very well. Some of them are, but the majority of them are not. They don't know. And we've had experience that we got to go through those call centers and you get transferred 4 or 5 times and then the call drops. And it's frustrating when you can't understand them. And I don't think they understand Medicare very well. But that's what you get with most companies. So you use a broker like us. We have our own customer support team. Our clients never have to go through that. Call us and we'll help you. That's just the way it works. And there's, again, no cost whatsoever. We do all that. We write plans, we get paid, and we service you as well as our clients. Next, Sarah. My spouse is now on my work plan and on an insulin pump. The plan is saying he really doesn't need it and has to go back to daily injections. Interesting. Would this be the same issue once he goes on Medicare? Well, Sarah, I've never had that before. What I would do is I would talk to, I think, are they called endocrinologists? Is that right? Diabetes doctors, whatever they're called. I thought it was endocrinologist. But whoever he is using, what I would do is ask them the criteria for being approved for an insulin pump on Medicare, as well as then the insulin being paid through Part B. Because when you have a pump, the insulin's covered through Part B. Copay's the same. But now if I use the quick pins or whatever, or syringes, that's covered under Part D plans, D for drug. But so why don't you ask the endocrinologist about that? Because I've never had that come up before. So find out. My view is I don't know. You need to ask them what their rules are. So basically what you're saying is, what are the criteria to qualify for use of an insulin pump while on Medicare? I guarantee you they're going to know that. Okay, and then they write the script for it, and then you can get an insulin pump. And I've never heard of anyone having to get off of a pump once they were approved for it. This never happened in my career. All right, who's next? Okay, thanks for sharing your wisdom. Makes a stressful decision so much easier. My birthday is May, and I'm close to calling you. Thank you very much for the encouragement. We love doing what we do. We really do. I promise you, this is a privilege to help people with this. And I've been doing it a long time. I've got 2 of my boys and my son-in-law owns a business. We have 90 employees, and we have a dedicated people, so thanks. Keep going. Okay, I'm in good health. 65, May 3rd. Can I delay B for a few months until the end of enrollment period? I probably won't, but curious. Well, Mish, you can officially, technically, but you wouldn't want to do that. And the reason for that, unless you're still working, then you're going to be responsible for everything after that birth date. So what I would do is enroll in advance, make your Medicare start A and B May 1st. But if you say, hey, I'm going to do it, so here's the rules, okay? The longest you can put it off, with your birthday being in May, your last 3 months are June, July, and August. So as long as you submit that paperwork, August, then you can still start September 1. Yes, you saved yourself $185 a month times 3. So whatever that is, $450. But you put yourself in extreme risk, because even if you have COBRA, you're the first payer. So for me, $185 a month savings would not be the risk of something happening. I'm just telling you, I don't have time to tell you the stories, but there's so many people that have taken a risk and just come to regret it. So $185 to me would not be worth it, okay, at all. I'd start it right on time. Okay, do you go through underwriting to switch from one plan and carrier to another? Depends, Kenneth, on where you live. If you live in what is called a birthday rule state, there's a period of time around your birthday, usually 30 days before, 30 days after, 60 days after your birthday. And those birthday rule states are California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Nevada, Oklahoma, Illinois, Louisiana, Kentucky, Maryland, Missouri. Missouri's anniversary rule, same concept, just around the anniversary of the policy. And so if you live in a birthday rule state, you can move from end to end with no underwriting at all around that birthday window. And again, every state's different. But if you don't live in a birthday rule state and you're beyond 6 months of your B date, you mean you've had that implant for more than 6 months, if you want to switch, then you're going to have to go through underwriting. So it just depends on where you live, sir. Okay, is that it? Okay, very good. Well, folks, hey, I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. And next Thursday, we'll have another event, 5 o'clock. I'll be in town next Thursday. And then also this coming Monday, next Monday, we have one at 5 o'clock as well. That's called Medicare Monday through our Facebook group. Love to have you be a part of that. And if we can help in any way, folks, please reach out to us. We'll be honest with you. We'll be unbiased because we write all the plans. We just want to make sure that you find the coverage that's best for you and have confidence in your Medicare choices. You take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.